Hi guys, my name is Trevor ILESLEY, teaching the new way in 3 letters. I call it 3 letters and the truth. And it's called Be Me, Body, Mind, Energy, Experience. Because in fact, you are a Be Me being. Which means the meaning and purpose to life is to be you. Today I want to be speaking about spirits. Do you actually see spirits? Now, when people see spirit, we can turn around and say that spirit exists. But if you're talking to beings that have never seen a spirit before, then you're wasting your time. They don't understand what it is that you're saying. So finding like-minded people that have seen spirit is the best way for you to be able to converse and have a great conversation with somebody about spirit. Now, it may just be your beginning stages of seeing spirit. So I put a question out to you because this is the beginning of it, how it used to happen for me when I was very young, is that have you ever felt somebody sitting at the end of your bed and you can actually feel them sitting at the end of your bed, and for some strange reason at that particular time you will wake up and see them? Now, that happened to me for many years of my life, especially when I was younger, and I think it still happens to a lot of children now. Because a lot of the time it's to do with like grandparents or your mother or father that seems to come back. Now, if you've seen something like that, to me, that's how you understand what spiritual means. Because not everybody sees that. Is it a gift? Probably. Gift is a strange way of looking at things, but if you see spirit, and only just one spirit, that should be enough to be able to transform your life. That lets you know that just because you see spirit, it's not to say that you're not going to become one yourself. And there's so many people say, oh my God, I saw a ghost, and it frightened me, and it was this man, and he was saying this, and he was doing this, whatever be the case. And I say, yeah, but you're also going to be a spirit yourself. That's how it happened for me. I got to a point where I was seeing so much spirit that I needed to change something about myself. Why was I seeing spirit all of a sudden? What was going on? It got me to the point that says spirit must be real. So therefore, I needed to look at myself and try to understand that I also will become a spirit. Now, you got good spirits, you got dark spirits. So people that can come around you from in the spirit world can influence you without a shadow of a doubt. They can make you feel in certain ways. I know it sounds strange, but it happened to me. So somebody said to me, there's a lot of spirit happening in their house, and I'm seeing this spirit, and I don't know what they want. They can kind of half explain what they kind of look like, and I don't want him in my house. It's a simple answer to that. What if that spirit is walking around and seeing you in his house? Whose house is it? Think about that for the moment. Is he seeing you? Are you seeing him? It's a strange one, isn't it? But how funny would that be that he's walking around and sort of saying, oh my God, I've just seen this woman on a computer and she's just sitting there at the desk. See, you have to see it both ways. That's how I try to understand spirit. Is spirit seeing me because I'm seeing spirit? And of course the answer is yes. For instance, recently, and where are we now? September, end of September 2019. I had to think about that date. I don't work in dates. There's been a man walking around, and we say to ourselves, well, I don't know why. I don't know what he wants or what is his influence. But I started to get headaches, and I kept saying to myself, oh, I've got a headache. Maybe it's the weather. Maybe I've got too much on my mind. Maybe something's happening somewhere. But after a while, you start seeing this spirit. Then you start putting 2 and 2 together. And the way that I was kind of understanding the headache is when you get that moment within your body and saying, is this spirit actually causing me to have headaches? And in that moment, funny enough, the headache can disappear, because they're trying to tell you something. It's like mediumship. You know, when you do mediumship, you may be talking to somebody and you get this massive headache. So you can turn around and say to somebody, did he have something wrong with his brain? Was there an aneurysm? Did he have cancer of the brain? Did he die from a blow to the head? You know, it kind of all makes sense. And I believe that spirits around you, because they want you to recognize them, they wanted you to notice them, but they also want you to pick up of why they are hanging around, because they're trying to explain something to you. But once you get it, and you can say to that spirit, you know what, I feel you and I see you and I recognize you. That makes them feel so good. And in that instance, they can leave because they've been recognized. So the interesting thing is, I believe that the guy that is walking around this house is very much influenced by the blues music. So I started to feel very bluesy, very blue, very down at some point, and then I decided I want to buy harmonicas. So all of a sudden I bought 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 harmonicas. Why am I buying harmonicas? I'm not interested in the blues music. And then all of a sudden, everything on the TV is all about the blues music, and you know, all this harmonica music. I'll be walking around the supermarket and there'll be this harmonica music going on. I thought, this is really mad. This is really strange, you know. So I started to play the harmonica thinking, well, I don't know how to play it. But there was an influence there. And I could play it, and it was like, this is strange. This is really weird. How am I so interested in the blues? What is the blues? So I delved in to discover what is the blues. What is it all about? And you've got to go way back to slavery. I hate that word, but we're still in that word today. And you go back to the African people that were slaved and working on the cotton fields. And so therefore they used to sing to make their day a little bit easier. And they used to sing about freedom. So when you kind of listen to the blues, yes, it's all about I've got the blues. You know, and I'm feeling down and I'm feeling trapped and I want freedom from something that has captured me. I truly get that. So can you see how I've pieced the journey together, and I'll work the journey out and I say, what is this spirit saying to me? What is it trying to show me? And so therefore, you have to follow that rhythm. You have to follow what that spirit is trying to introduce you into. So as I said, the more I looked at the blues, it was all about freedom and it was all about slavery. So when I looked at that and understood what my work was all about, I realized that Beamism was about releasing people from slavery. So let's say depression. You feel trapped, don't you? Well, what is the feeling of feeling trapped? Well, it's a sense of fear. So when you're in fear, you're a slave to the fear. We can say being a human being is a slave to the system. You can say that your mind is trying to kill you off. You're being a slave to the mind. So the more I got into understanding what the blues was all about, we've got music. Well, what is music? It's a frequency, it's a vibration, and music explains a story. So this man that had been showing itself wanted me to explain things in a different way, wanted me to tell the story about having the blues. When you look at people like Van Morrison, so here's another thing, how it works out as well. Van Morrison, didn't really know who Van Morrison was, never bought a record of his, probably never even listened to Van Morrison. All of a sudden, I've got this interest in Van Morrison. I don't know why, don't really like Van Morrison. So then I started looking up Van Morrison. And then all of a sudden, I realised about a week ago, now remember it's the end of September, he brings out a record called The Dark Night of the Soul. Interesting, I thought. My work's all about the dark night of the soul. And now we've got Van Morrison singing a song about the dark night of the soul. Well, that's a blues song, isn't it? So that let me know that Van Morrison is obviously in the dark night of the soul, or has been in the dark night of the soul, and is looking for a way out. So therefore I started to look at some other songs of his. And there was a song called Enlightenment. And I thought, he's singing about enlightenment. Strange. So I listened to the words of that and I thought, oh, okay, I get it. And then there was another song that popped up and it was about Spirit will provide. I thought, wow, this is really interesting. I'll listen to that one as well. And then I listened to another song, and these are songs in succession that was happening one after each other. And the other one was called The Prophet Speaks. So I looked at that and I thought, this is really weird. This is really strange. And that's what happens when we see spirit, isn't it? We think this is weird. This is really strange. But when I put it all together, this spirit was trying to get my attention, because I tell you for why. I spend many nights out in the garden till 3, 4, 5 o'clock in the morning. I just love the planet that we live in. And I do a lot of meditation on that, but it's not meditation in a way that you sort of just drift off. It's a meditation that says, I'm speaking to the universe. I'm speaking to the heavens. I'm speaking to the gods, whatever you call it. And I empty my mind and I put out a question and hopefully an answer will come. Well, it came in the form of this spirit. So we can be scared, it can make you jump sometimes because you can see him out the corner of your eye, or you hear something move, or you see something move across the room. It's quite scary. But after a while, you get to realize that the gift is they're trying to show you something. So being awake, or even being enlightened, whatever be the case, or being a different level of consciousness, you have to start to read the signs of what's happening. And it's a bit strange and it's a bit weird, but it does take time, and you need somebody to guide you and teach you to say, okay, well, let's add this up and see what that messenger is saying to you. So for me, looking at the blues, we've all got the blues. But the interesting thing is that I did a philosophy on the blues, and it's called Blue, which means Begin Living Universal Energy, B-L-U-E. Begin Living Universal Energy. Be me, body, mind, energy. So it kind of worked for me. So what the spirit was telling me is to realize people have got the blues and they can't explain the story. So blues, as I said to you, is all about explaining the story. And there's films out there and stories out there that you're not a blues man unless you've experienced the blues. That makes a great blues singer. That's what makes a great harmonica player or guitar player, because they're explaining a story to you in song. So therefore, this spirit was saying to me, explain the story about the blues. So I can turn around and say to you, yeah, I had the blues. And I had the blues for many, many years. But then I discovered the story behind the blues. And then hence, Beamism became my way of thinking, my way of feeling. And that's what I share with the world about being you. So if you got the blues, you need to explain the story. You need to work out the story. Now, that's evolution. So when you're in depression or in the dark night of the soul, you're trying to look at your story and trying to understand that story. And a good spiritual teacher, or I'm going to say body, mind, energy teacher, will say, okay, we need to explain your story. We need to fathom out why that story was so important to the soul. So hence, that's the dark night of the soul. It is stopping you. It is telling you that you've got the blues and you need to try and work out your story. And that is how you understand Blue Be Me, which is Begin Living Universal Energy, Body, Mind, Experience. So if you got the blues and you want to connect with me and speak with me, I'm now doing Skype teachings. On these videos, I talk a lot about the complaints and what it is that you're going through. and I don't have enough time to give you what the answers are all about. So I think this spirit has decided for me about teaching the blues. So I'm now doing whiteboard teachings and explaining everything in written form so that you can write it down and work with it and understand your own blues. My name is Trevor ILESLEY. I shall leave the details at the end of this video, my email. Send me an email and I will send you the details and the pricings for us to have an hour's conversation on how to escape the blues. My name is Trevor ILESLEY, and I'll see you on the other side.